Happy New Year. Hooray. It is a new year. Can you believe it? I'm so excited. I'm so very excited that it is a new year. So I'm diving in. We are diving into the new year. It's like the new year is like this big, exciting cliff. Sounds terrible. No, but I'm super excited. Get your comments going here. I'm super excited, and we are just diving into 2024 like swan dive. Happy New Year, Jane. Yay. We're diving in, doing like flips. Going to be really fun. Maybe we're really up there. We're diving in. We're building our parachute. So today's like genres. We're building our screenplay parachute. So we are diving in. We have so many really fun things planned for this year, and I'm very excited about all of it. And we're going to just dive in today with a really fun conversation. Happy New Year. Yay. Hey, Kelly. I'm really happy to see you guys jumping in from different areas. I love that we are now able, we're so fancy. We're able to stream into YouTube, on LinkedIn, and Facebook. We're surrounding, we're all jumping off the LinkedIn cliff. We're all jumping into the new year from all these different places. So it's really fun to be able to do that and to dive into writing. So we are spending the next couple of months really focused on screenplays. We've had a lot of requests for that. And so here we are. We're going to dive into analyzing screenplays for those of you that, are readers that are here, that I see today that are here and that are maybe thinking about joining our programs. We have so many different ways that you can do this. We do these free live trainings every single week. I jump in and we do, sometimes it's live, sometimes it's not, but there's always a free something. We're always like wanting to give you free stuff. So there's always free things every single week about the reading and writing process. And so, we're doing that. We have that as, you can be involved in that. We also have paid programs where people are taking our courses. I'm also a life coach. So we have coaching programs. We have a lot of things going on, and we have a lot of amazing people doing a lot of cool stuff. So love sharing all of that. Love having you here. And we've had a lot of requests to really dive into the screenwriting process. A lot of the people in our programs that have joined our program about how to become a reader do so because they want to learn about reading and analyzing screenplays, but also they might want to be a producer or they write screenplays and they really want that screenplay to be a screenplay that will get past a reader, right? So the reader is the first person to read a screenplay when it's submitted somewhere. The reader will take a look at it and then write a thing called coverage, which is kind of like a book report. We write that coverage. We give the coverage to the person who asked us to read the screenplay. And that coverage dictates what the movie is about and then what works about the screenplay and what needs work in the screenplay. And that book report is what the producer uses to look at their project. Sometimes we'll do it for a writer, and the writer can look at that coverage and see where they want to make changes to their screenplay. So we really are trusted advisors. We really do honor that writer. We really, in our programs, we really, really, really support that writer. We really want to be a champion for that writer and a support system for those very busy producers that have it all going on. And we can be the one person that's like, story. Does the story work? Does the story work? And when the story isn't working, how does the story work? We are so focused on that. And we can be that voice for that screenplay. So that's what we're about. That's what we teach. That's what we, yell off our cliff. We really want to be a support system for that writer as well as that producer. Happy New Year. It is our year for sure. So as we do this, we are helping people write screenplays as well. We have a lot of writers in our midst that join our program simply to write their screenplay. And then we have people that join the program wanting to be a reader. And once they see, and once we break it down and they start to see, oh, this is all the things behind a movie. And we've had Ree who coined the term, and I love this, my new eyes. Suddenly I see movies with a whole new perspective. Like I have new eyes as I look at it, and I suddenly start to see, oh, that's why this is there. And that's why this is this. They start to understand breaking down that screenplay. Then they say, you know what, maybe I can actually write a screenplay. And we've had many, many people that have come through our programs and have decided to write a screenplay. So we thought we'd spend the first couple of months of this year kind of double downing on the writing process and what happens when you write a screenplay. And we have, you'll get, some of you will get an email later today. We have a lot of different programs going on. We're just, talking to all the people that are on our list, talking to people in our social media world and going like, we have this, like, what are you good for? So, keep an eye on your inbox and always let us know. You can always unsubscribe if you don't want to get emails from us. We only want people that want to be here. So we send emails out. We kind of tell you what we have going on, and then you can jump in where you see fit, right? And then we also have an event that's coming up in a couple of weeks. So save the date. We haven't put out the information yet, but that will be, I believe it's January 20th or the 21st, is whatever that weekend, that Saturday is on that weekend. We will be doing a pitch playbook event, which is like, how do you pitch that screenplay? And we're doing it, this is really unique, I think. Not to my own horn or anything, but I'm really excited about this event. It's something we've been working on for a while, for about a year actually, where we're going to be talking about pitching a screenplay. Yes, how do you pitch that screenplay? But we'll also be talking about how do you take pitches? Because as a reader, when people find out that you're a reader, first thing they do is tell you their screenplay idea. So what do you do with that? Like, how do you handle taking a pitch from someone when someone's telling you about your screenplay? We're going to be coming at it from both sides of the table. Both how do you give that pitch, and then how do you take the pitch? So it's going to be really exciting. And that's a full day event that will be happening on Saturday. I believe it's January 20th. We're not in June just yet. We just started the new year. I'm already getting into June. So January 20th. And or 21st, whatever that Saturday is. We'll be diving in and doing that. So keep an eye out on your inbox for that as well. So as we lead up to that, we want to be talking about screenplays and screenplay structure and screenplays, what all the things about screenplay. And one of the first things that screenwriters need to decide when they're writing that screenplay is the genre. One of the things about understanding screenplay structure and what is expected in a screenplay is understanding genres, because different things are expected from different genres. So really having a look at all of the different genres, and there are many that are out there, and then how do you maneuver within that? How do you pick the genre that you want to write from? One of the things, and I've kind of created terms for things because I think it makes it easier. I'm always trying to like create fun terms for things so that people can get an idea of, how to write a screenplay in a really simple fashion. So one of the things I talk a lot about is, well, two things is screenplay stew, which is having so many ideas that you just throw it in and you end up with this sort of mushy stew because you have way too many ideas, and instead of like pulling out the ones that fit within the screenplay. And one of the ways you can do that is by understanding your genre. And the other thing that comes from genres is genre jumping. This is a term that I made up. And this is the idea that you're going along in one genre and then you have some screenplay stew happening. So you're like, oh, I have this idea and that idea. And you're like, you've got this Western, and you're writing this Western or this period piece or something. And suddenly you go, it would be cool. And I can almost see the writer doing this, it'd be kind of fun. They're almost getting bored with their own story. And they're saying, it'd be cool as if, if suddenly, someone was decapitated. And now, okay, we've just jumped genres. Now we're in horror. Okay, it'd be cool. Now we're driving around in our Western. Okay, that's all right. You can do it Western horror. It's pretty awesome. You can like go down that. Okay, we've added that genre. And then it's like, what? Maybe, what if? Anytime you get what if at the front of a sentence, it's like, what if? What if it turns out that this character is actually from another planet? Oops, we just switched over into sci-fi. So now you've got genre jumping, right? Genre jumping and screenplay stew go together very often. And when someone genre jumps and they're jumping all over the place, you can put genres together. That's fine. And we're going to talk about that, how to do that. So you can you can mash up many genres together as long as you're very intentional and you're understanding kind of the rules of each genre, and then you're following those rules within your screenplay. And I'm not trying to kill creativity by having rules. The rules provide a foundation, and then you're free to play on top of it. By having some structure, then that actually promotes more creativity. When you're feeling like, oh no, I don't want these rules, they're going to like stop me from being creative, they're going to hold me down, they're going to I'm sort of mocking. I don't mean to be so mocking today, but it is like that idea of like, no, I don't want to, I need to be free. But within that freedom, you lose your way sometimes, and then no one knows what you're doing. When you're trying to speak to everyone, you're speaking to no one. And so by kind of reining it in and like following some structure, your message actually reaches more people and becomes more clear, and more people can relate to it, because then it suddenly becomes very authentic. When you're jumping genres and you're putting all this stuff in and you're trying to please everyone, you're not pleasing anyone, and it all gets messed up, and then it's not very authentic. because it's now a people-pleasing screenplay. It's not the voice of you and the voice that you're trying to get across. And as I talk about this for you writers out there, it's like really understanding your voice. And for you readers out there, it's really helping that writer see their voice. We are here to be that runway for the writer. We're there to be like, whoa, 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 whoa. We're the, like when you bowl, we're the little gutter things that come up. And we're like, whoa, we got you. We're going to push that ball kind of, let's get that ball to the center so that you can get that strike and like really like hit it out of the park. Now I'm genre jumping in sports. So as you like put that screenplay on the right track, right? And we help it kind of stay on its runway so then it can really take off. Now I'm in a whole nother metaphor. But you see how they all make sense though, right? We want to get that screenplay in that place. And by understanding genre, that really is a huge part of foundation. So I just pulled a bit of this from our course to talk about genre today. I actually have a handout because that's how I roll. So let me put that up so you can see it. Hello to all you people just joining us. Nice to see you. And hello to all you folks that watch the replay. I know we get a lot of that as well. So let me put this handout up for you. So if you go to Hollywood Gatekeepers, that would not be .net. Hang on. Let me edit that. That would be .com. We're fancy. Okay. Now let me show that. HollywoodGatekeepers.com/write. When you go to that, she says with confidence, you will you'll see a place to enter your email. And the reason that we do that is so that we can tell what people want, because more people that enter their email and click on that certain thing, then we know, okay, this is a topic that we should do more of. So that's why we do that. So you'll be able to see there. I think there's 3 trainings on there right now. We'll be adding those trainings throughout the weeks. We are focusing on writing over the next couple of months. So we're going to be adding more and more things to that handout. So you'll see there's a couple of trainings on there already, and you'll be able to get this one as well. So then let me share my screen and I'll show you the handout that we have for today. Talk and type. Multitasking is not a thing. Share screen. Okay. Your window. Oop. Where is it? There we go. Got it. Yay, there it is. So this is something that we created. So because people genre jump and because there's so much screenplay stew happening, we wanted to create something that made genres just easier to sort of put together. And basically the 2 main things, comedy, tragedy, they have the little masks, right? So basically all films fall into one of those 2. Now, right out the gate, you're probably going, well, what about? But what if? So, you have dark comedy. Now we're going into subgenres, right? We're going other dramas. So what we did was we started with comedy or drama. Which one is it? And it can be a dramedy that's more drama and a little bit of comedy. And it could be a dark comedy or a comedy that has some trauma in it or some tragedy, or, they can go back and forth. But primarily there's one that's heavier than the other. It leans more towards comedy or more towards drama and adds some other things in. And then what we did is we categorized the next thing as being, let me see if I can get that a little bit bigger somehow. Can I? No, not that. Hold on. Look at that. It's very exciting. Okay. So then we categorize the next thing as being form genres. So this made it so that this is how the look of the film, right? This is the production designer is coming in now, right? And the way that a film looks, and there'll be certain rules that come in with forms. So you refine the root genre, which is comedy or drama, with a form on top. So we just created this just to try to simplify things, make it a little bit easier to understand and a little bit easier to select what you want to be in. And so form genres have to do with the look, the style, the feel, all of that kind of, the touchy-feely things of how it can shape the movie, what it looks like, how it sounds, that kind of thing. And so the root genres, the form genres are like sci-fi, romance, action adventure, Western, mystery, thriller. You see how they're kind of vague. They're big picture, right? We're not getting into nitty gritty. We're still 30,000 foot view. We know that we're a comedy or a drama. And now are we a sci-fi, a romance, a Western, a mystery, a horror, family, animated, fantasy, anime, musical, faith or religion, period, historical, or war. So these are kind of the root genres that then within that, there's certain rules with all of these, right? So now we can start to narrow it down. And then on top of that, there's subgenres. And now that's where we're getting like, there's so many ways that we can go, because you could have a drama that's a horror film, but the horror film Saw is much different than the horror film Shaun of the Dead, right? Well, that would actually be comedy, horror, and then we're getting into subgenres, right? So you can start to mix them up that way. And so you can decide, you can have Abraham Lincoln Vampire Killer. You can have Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. These are movies that are, they're actually in the title, making it clear, look, we're mashing genres. Like it's very much, they're making that choice and they're putting it in the title so you really understand it. But that also happens in Shaun of the Dead, is a comedy that is a horror film, right? There are certain things that happen that make it within a genre. So, and there isn't necessarily that they're going like, look, everyone, like they do in Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, right? Which I think is fantastic, by the way. So when you look at these, you see, okay, you can see everything, just making sure. When you look at these, no, I need to see it. Hold on. There we go. So when you look at these, when you look in horror, right, you can have zombie, you can have a monster film, a ghost, a ghost movie, Paranormal Activities. You can have, well, Paranormal is actually a little bit different than Ghost. So you have Ghost, which the movie Ghost, or you have Paranormal Activities, which is a little bit different than Ghost, right? A straight ghost story. A farce or a spoof, a holiday horror film, Violent Night that just came out, dark, really dark, kind of like noir sort of, which is another form genre. So, it can be different things that really like put that film into a certain type of movie. And then it really kind of comes down to all of these other genres, subgenres that you can add to it, right? So we kind of lay them out for you so that you would have a handout where you can kind of look and you can say, okay, what do I want my genres to be? And what genres do I want to mash together? So romances can be rom-coms or hidden identity or historical period or slapstick or quirky or ghost or holiday. You see how they kind of cross over to, or melodrama. So there's different things that can be the base of the film. And then there's different things that you can put on top of the film. So if you're a new writer, meaning like you're just starting writing, I recommend that you keep it simple, that you decide it's more first about the story you want to tell. What is the story you want to tell? And then deciding what genre does it fit into. And then as you write it, being aware if you're genre jumping. It's very easy to genre jump. And I've done it. I do it myself as a writer. I teach this and I still do it. Because what happens is, and I've done it myself, where you had things like I demonstrated, wouldn't it be cool if, but maybe what if? And I have to say, I recently co-wrote a film with a brilliant director. And we had one moment in particular that I had a what if. We were kind of stuck in kind of act 2. This is where this normally happens. And I was like, what if? And I went down this whole backstory for our villain. What if this is the deal? And what if this happens? And and she said, and I got to hand it to her, she said, that is a great idea. That's a different movie. It was like, at first I was sort of disappointed because I was so excited about the idea and I thought I had depth and had all this stuff, but I was genre jumping to some degree with it. But I was also creating an entirely different movie. So as you look as a reader at films, sometimes you might be looking at more than one movie. You might be looking at a series. If there's a ton of characters and they all have a ton of backstory and there's so much happening and we're jumping all over the place and it's an ensemble piece, it might be a series. It might be that this screenplay just has too much and it needs to be, changed mediums, right? So this is a way that you can kind of take this handout and then you can look at it and you can decide, wait a minute, am I still in the same genre that I started with? Because different genres have different rules to them. So really having an understanding of, like a horror film, they're typically shorter than other films. They're, I think because people just can't take it. So they're like 90 minutes long, or, they're shorter. Comedies too tend to be shorter. Historical dramas tend to be longer. And as someone who, when you're first starting out, you really want to stay within that minute per page idea of a screenplay is a minute per page. And so a horror film, a comedy, a romantic comedy, these genres tend to be shorter. Thrillers they're shorter, but they can be a little bit longer than the straight horror film. Whereas when you get into period pieces, I think because there's just so much to absorb and you have to get used to the time period and there's so much to kind of understand. There's these big sweeping, the historical dramas, there's a form to them, right? There's a whole form to those genres where there's these sweeping shots and we take our time. And so that will slow things down. So then the screenplay can be a little bit longer. But as someone who's just starting out, you want to make sure though that you're still staying within that 90 to 120 pages or 90 to 120 minutes, as screenplays are a minute per page. Now, people always go, well, what if, but what about? When you have a but what about moment of films that then you can point to that are much longer, look at who is the director writer of that film and what is their history. So if someone is an Oscar winning director, then they can take some time. They can, break these rules because they already have a track record. When you're first starting out, you're trying to sell your first or second screenplay, you want to try and stick within the rules because the competition is really high. And so you want to show that you can do that. Once you know the rules, then you can start breaking them. Then you can really mash up dramas or genres. And you can take this and you can mash it up if you want. You can take this and that's your thing, right? But then know that you're doing it. Sell it with the idea that you know that you're doing it. And then you'll get, I guarantee you'll get some flack, some feedback of like, no, you can't do that. But you might get that one person that goes, okay, I'm with you. Let's break the rule together. That can happen. So with all the rules that are available, they're all available to break as well. Just know that you're doing that. But when you meet someone and you decide that you've become a writer and you go out there and you try to sell your work, you can write in all different genres. That's fine. You can do that if you want. You just want to present whatever the project that you're working on as the project that you're working on, right? If you're trying to sell a certain screenplay, you don't want to sell that screenplay, but then halfway through selling that screenplay and telling them all about it, you start going, oh, but I also have this other one. Then I also have this other thing, because then it seems like you're not focused on the one thing that you have, right? You want to focus on one thing at a time. And, people talk all the time about, will I be pigeonholed? Will I, what if I write a horror film, then I'm going to be stuck writing horror films my whole life? Maybe, but it's up to you to be really good at the one thing that you're doing, get that going, and then you can start playing with other things, right? Be specific first. It's like anything. You're not going to drive a Ferrari. You're first with your permit. You're going to learn how to drive. I have a friend who recently was such a great story, was recently given a gift to go drive a performance car. She's really excited by it. She had all these fantasies about driving the car. She was so nauseous during the whole thing that they ended up having to like pull her out. She had to go lay down because she made her so nauseous, and it sort of ruined the dream of what that would be like. It was much harder than she was anticipating. And so you're on a racetrack by yourself and they have someone in your ear, and the whole thing just made her so sick in the driver's seat because of the way these cars are, right? So you're not going to like step into being a writer and write something that's really complicated, that jumps time periods and jumps genres. Like, stick to something simple. Stick to a story that you love and know and resonates with you. What inspires you? What films inspire you? Start there and then add your own thing to that. So I hope that makes sense. We love to come in here. I never want to spend too much time on these lives. I just want to come in for 15 minutes, half an hour, and give you something to think about. So you can get this handout. And I'm also realizing as I look at this handout, I'm going to make some changes to it right as we speak right now, because I don't see film noir, for one thing, as a form genre. And it should be. So because it has something to do with what it looks like, and film noir has a very specific look to it. So I'll be updating that. See, it's always a work in progress. All the things about writing are a work in progress. And we've created this just to get you on track as to what is a film, what is a genre, how do you pick a genre, how do they go together, how do you stay on track when you're reading screenplays, How do you identify what the genre is? And then if you can't identify the genre, then that's something you put in your comments, because on your coverage, you're going to have to write what the genre is, first of all. And that's also something as a writer, reader, where if you have a coverage and the coverage says that this is a horror film, but the writer says, no, it's not, this is a romantic comedy, you know you have a problem, right? So being able to identify that genre is really important. And being able to have the screenplay have a solid genre is really important. It's one of the key things in foundation. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that's helpful for you. Stay tuned. We're going to continue with more things about creating screenplays that readers will love. You'll get your screenplay past a reader, and you can win that Oscar for your screenplay as soon as possible. So we want to start out this new year really, getting you prepared to write that screenplay, getting you prepared to be that reader that can then really guide that writer to write that screenplay that is just going to sing. It's going to let their voice get out there. That's what we're here for. We're here to really help those writers get their voices up there. So I'm good. Oh, thank you, Maria. I'm glad that helps a lot. Happy New Year to you as well. So go ahead, get that screenplay going, pick your genre, write that screenplay, pick your genre, or help that writer pick their genre. If you're a reader, help them out and let them get going. And then as a producer, when you're reading for producers, they're going to be very, very specific about the kind of genre that they want to produce, so they can produce that genre and you can go out there and get that script ready within that genre. So have a beautiful, lovely day. Good. I'm glad it was helpful. I love having you guys show up. Power of showing up is so important. So we will see you next week when we continue on about writing screenplays. Super happy to have you.